Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. And it's Monday morning. And I want to talk to you today about a prosperity principle that I believe is going to be a key and a difference maker to helping you to have an amazing life, but also a very, very productive week. And it's this idea of persistence. And so I want to talk to you today because on Mondays, we always talk about prosperity pillars and principles that will guide you throughout the weeks, some things that you can use as a foundation. And today's one of those days. Now, Monday is over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about the prosperity pillars. And for those of you that have not been familiar with the pillars, over the past 25, probably now 30 years, I've had the opportunity to work with some amazing thought leaders, individuals that have really inspired me, helped me to grow. And I've worked behind the scenes with, huge names, success experts, authors, celebrities, individuals that I feel like have really mastered the art of a fulfilled life, a productive life, prosperity in general. And I used a lot of the principles that I've learned from them and I put them into these 12 prosperity pillars. And these pillars are ones that, I have on my a wall, a poster, but I've sold thousands and thousands of those posters. But the third pillar is it says, I act in spite of my mood. And this one goes straight to this idea of persistence because many times we work in our life on things that get affected and influenced by our surroundings, our environment, our mood, our situations and circumstances in life. And if we don't learn to act in spite of our mood, it's very difficult for us to really accomplish goals because consistency and persistence is really going to be the key. So I want to really hyper focus today on this idea of the key to your results is persistence. And persistence is going to be not only the difference maker, but it's going to be a state of mind that you have to cultivate. And it requires a decision to act in spite of your mood. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. And I'm glad you're joining me. This is your first time joining. Please, hit like and subscribe on the podcast. If you could do a review, that would be phenomenal. But I don't want you to miss any episodes because the goal and the reason I started the Daily Mastermind was primarily to give you something you could use as an anchor in your life so that each day you begin with the mindset and the focus and the clarity around what it is you want to do. So I'll cover mind, body, money, business, relationship, at times communication, things that'll help you to create an amazing lifestyle. But today we're going to talk about persistence. So persistence, according to Napoleon Hill, is the key difference maker between success and failure in many, many cases. And he went through and interviewed, hundreds of individuals that have achieved success in life. He goes on to say in his book, Think and Grow Rich, that the lack of persistence is one of the biggest things that have kept people from achieving their goals and dreams and desires. So, all of us experience a lack or a desire, a lack of persistence or a desire to quit at times. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how successful you are. Every one of us has had that thought pop up in our life. Should I really be doing this? Am I on the right path? Am I getting the results I want, or is it time to, throw in the towel or pivot or even move in a different direction? And the difference is that the rewards and the success are given to those that continue to persist. When you continue to persevere and persist, you are going to find that, that is that, that difference maker, but also that ticket to the gates of success. Calvin Coolidge said, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with a talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education is not. The world is full of educated derelicts. And persistence and domination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. And I love that quote. And sometimes, it's a quote from a celebrity or a thought expert or someone, famous that helps us to really pay attention. But there's something that we don't really talk about a lot. And that is that persistence is a state of mind. And because it's a state of mind and because persistence begins in your mindset, it can be cultivated. You can train your mind for persistence. Lack of persistence can be changed. If you're that kind of person that says, man, I have a difficult time with willpower or discipline or persistence, and it's maybe you look back on your life and you've never really identified it, but you tend to give up on things. You tend to not follow them through, even if you're successful. I know many people that have been very successful, even myself, that at times just don't go that distance, or our persistence is conditional to our environment and our day. But lack of persistence, if you do have that problem, it can be changed. You can grow your mental ability to be persistent. So how do you do that? Well, I wanted to give you a few suggestions today on how you continue to stay consistent with your actions and cultivate persistence. And the first is to have a definiteness of purpose. What do you really want? It's that compelling vision of the future that allows you to go to the next level. It allows you to push through when you don't feel like it. Your compelling vision of the future and the clarity around that definiteness of purpose will help you to stay persistent. The second is your desire. Your desire for something, your ability to make it a must rather than a should, or rather than a could. That desire, in addition to the definiteness of purpose, is what's going to fuel you through to stay persistent. Also, self-reliance. Persistence is easier when you're not dependent on other people. When you have a plan or a business or a strategy that you're reliant on other people and they continue to let you down, persistence is much harder. So find ways to be self-reliant. There's also, in addition to definiteness of purpose, there's definiteness of plans. If you don't have an actual strategy, tactics, and plan, if you don't have a calendar that's built around the activities you need, you're going to have a hard time with persistence. But a definiteness of plans builds your confidence and therefore your persistence. Another thing you can do is apply to learn knowledge. We talk a lot about that. When you learn more about what you're trying to accomplish and you master the skills, you build confidence. Therefore, you can create better solutions, you have better ideas, and you can maintain persistence. So mastering your knowledge is key. Another thing that I have highly recommended, obviously that's why I started the mastermind, is a cooperative mastermind, a group. Surround yourself with positive people. When you surround yourself with positive people, it's much easier to stay persistent in your life. Now, willpower is something that can help you stay persistent, but you've got to really understand that willpower is a limited resource, and the best time of day might make a difference for you. When do you have the most willpower? When do you have the ability to stay persistent? Schedule the important things during that time of day. If you're better in the morning for creativity, if you're better in the evening. Another thing that'll help you with persistence is preparation, because preparation eliminates the obstacles and challenges that knock you off your path when you're trying to stay persistent. And this is why I always recommend daily rituals or habits. When you set up habits or daily rituals, it allows you to stay persistent. So these are all ways that you can cultivate persistence, and it's important that you truly believe that you can build your persistence characteristic in your mind, because your mind is where persistence lives. And you can build up that persistence in order to achieve what you want in life, but you've got to have a strategy and you've got to work at it. So the last thing I wanted to kind of talk to you about, besides the fact that persistence is a difference maker and that it starts in your mindset, is that persistence is really a decision. And this leads us to that third pillar that I was talking about. Persistence is a decision to act in spite of your mood, to act in spite of your mood. See, we all get tired at times. We all, feel demotivated. We all have times when we're, overwhelmed with our circumstances. It's the times that you act in spite of your mood that make a difference. And it helps you to do that when you've made a decision that it's not over until you win. It's like Les Brown says, it's not over until you win. If you make a decision and a commitment that you are going to be persistent, that you are not going to give up, then you will win. So let me give you just a few examples, just to kind of inspire you, a few examples of people or situations that were persistent and won. Did you know that NASA experienced 20 failures in its 28 attempts to send rockets to space? Think about that. These aren't short-term failures. 20 failures in 28 attempts to go to the moon or to send rockets to space. Tim Ferriss sent his breakthrough New York Times bestselling 4-Hour Workweek book to 25 publishers before one finally accepted it. How many times would you get rejected before you would give up or persist? Henry Ford, his early, businesses failed and left him broke 5 different times. Let me say that again. Henry Ford broke 5 different times before he founded the Ford Motor Company. Walt Disney went bankrupt after failing at multiple businesses. He was even fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Can you imagine that? Walt Disney of Walt Disney and Disneyland, Disney World. Albert Einstein was thought to be mentally handicapped before changing the face of modern physics and winning the Nobel Prize. Albert Einstein. I mean, would you have been labeled mentally handicapped and continue to persist? Persistence is the key. It even took Thomas Edison 1,000 attempts before inventing the light bulb. 1,000. How many of us would have given up before 1,000 attempts? See, the key is not how many times you overcome failure. The key is making the decision that no matter what, you're just not going to give up. Dr. Seuss, his first book was rejected by 27 publishers before it was accepted. Jack London, an American author, received 600 rejections before his first story was accepted. Vincent van Gogh sold only 1 painting in his lifetime, though today his works are priceless. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, and J.K. Rowling, the author, was nearly penniless, severely depressed, divorced, and a single mom who went to school while writing Harry Potter. Listen to me for a minute here. You've got to change the way you look at failure. And persistence, the reason that's the key is because persistence is your ability to continue regardless of how many times you're rejected, regardless of how many obstacles you have in your way, regardless of how many setbacks. Persistence, Napoleon Hill put it right, is the key. It is the key to accomplishing your dream life, your goals, your results that you're looking for. And like I've said many, many times, I believe it's never too late to start living the life that you're meant to live. But the key for you is to develop and cultivate this idea of persistence. So I hope that's something that you'll think about this week. I hope it's something that'll help you. Do me a favor and share this show, if you would. Share this show with someone that you know and hit me up on the Daily Mastermind and let me know what you're working on. What is it, not just that you're looking to accomplish, but what obstacles have you had to go through? What things have you had to persist through? I would love to hear from you. Once again, I'll put all my contact info in the show notes. My name's George Wright III, and I'm here every day. So I hope that you will join me again tomorrow. I'll look forward to talking with you then.